to you via email, or somehow, if some of you doesn't have an email address, we can send it to your mailing address. And make sure that you hand it to your association for record. Please note the division jurisdiction. Prior to developer turnover, the division might enforce and ensure compliance with Chapter 718 and rule relating to the development, construction, sale, lease, ownership, operation, and management of residential condominium unit, and complaint related to the procedural completion of milestone inspection. Please note the division jurisdiction after turnover in residential condominium is limited to election, certain financial issue, record access, maintenance of records, and the procedural completion of structural integrity reserve study called Cert. During this presentation, we will be discussing budget and reserve, official record, financial reporting, and election. We will have a designated time for question at the end of each section. Please keep questions related to the section. Our first section is annual budget and reserve. It's very important that you are aware that association must prepare an annual budget which show the estimate revenues and expense for the upcoming year. An annual budget is the more formal written plan of the association estimate future revenues and expense, which must include fully funded reserve. Bear in mind, this is an estimate. In this section, we will discuss the difference between operating budget and reserve, the calculation of reserve, straight line versus pool. We also discuss the requirements needed for annual budget meeting, meeting notice, and time frames, proper waiving of reserve requirement. What is required on an annual budget? An association must prepare an annual budget which shows the estimate revenues and expense for the upcoming year. Please keep in mind, these are just estimates, like I said. A budget must propose and adopt no later than 14 days prior beginning of the fiscal year. So, but what required on the budget? Beginning and ending date should indicate exactly date, budget start and end. Example, calendar year, January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. Just saying 2024 budget is not acceptable. All estimate revenues and expense. Fully funded reserve, excuse me. And lastly, assessment per unit type as described in your governing documents. Estimates are usually based on past figures. This can help create an estimate for the expense of operating the association. Revenue can be assessment, interest, lease, or rent from unit owners, any other form of income. Expense must include annual condominium fees paid to the state, insurance fidelity bonding, if applicable, administration expense, management fees, maintenance expense, rent for recreation and other commonly used facility, tax upon association property, tax upon leased areas, security provision. There may be other expense that the board know will occur in the new budget year that may or may not be reoccurring. An example can be termite retreatment, which is not the same as the annual inspection charge. This may not be needed annually, but the board should anticipate from prior year that a termite treatment will be needed during the upcoming fiscal year. Capital expenditure, deferred maintenance, and statutorily required reserve. Let's discuss each individually. Capital expenditure is the purchase or replacement of an asset with life of more than 1 year, or an addition to existing assets to extend its life more than 1 year. Example, new pool pumps. Deferred maintenance, any maintenance or repair that will be performed less frequently than once a year and will result in maintaining the useful life of an asset. Example, balcony restoration. Reserve, any fund other than operating funds that are restricted for deferred maintenance and capital expenditure. This is including the items required by Florida statute. We will find out what these items are momentarily. And reserve are also any other fund restricted as to use as by the condominium documents or the condominiums association. Statutory required reserve items as mentioned in the previous slide. We have roof replacement, building painting, pavement resurfacing, and the statute also requires that any other items of deferred maintenance expense or replacement cost that exceeds $10,000 also be reserved. Please note that the proposed budget must include fully funded reserve for each. That means the amount to be reserved must be computed using a formula based upon estimated remaining useful life and estimate replacement cost or deferred maintenance expense of the reserve item. In addition to the statutorily required reserve, at a minimum, a study of 8 items as related to the structural integrity and safety of the building must be completed for each building on the condo that is 3-story or higher in height and determined by the Florida Building Code. This item can be found in paragraph G of chapter 718, section 112, subsection 2. These items are a roof, a structure, including load-bearing wall and other primary structure member, and primary structure system at those terms as defined in chapter 627, section 706. Fireproofing and fire protection system, plumbing, electrical system, waterproofing and exterior painting, windows and exterior doors, and any other item that has deferred maintenance expense or replacement costs that exceed $10,000. There are 2 reserve calculation methods, straight line and pool. Please note that both methods are computed using formula based on estimate remaining useful life and estimate replacement cost or the deferred maintenance expense. The first column is the straight line method. In the straight line method, the money collected for each item can only be used on the named reserve item. If you look at the first diagram, roof replacement has its own box to show that the money collected for the roof can only be used for roof replacement. The same for building painting, pavement resurfacing, and items over $10,000. The second method of collect reserves is called the pool method. This method allows association to have a single source of fund to pay for multiple categories of reserve expense. Let's take a look at the second diagram. This shows the pool method. All of the required reserves are in one and are not in separate boxes like they were in the straight line diagram. The pool diagram is used here to show that all funds collected for roof replacement, building painting, pavement resurfacing, and any item over $10,000 mentioned in the reserve schedule is in one account. In the pool method, all funds collected can be used for any reserve item as long as they are listed in the reserve schedule. Please take note, however, that if you have an emergency that is not listed in this account, this fund cannot be utilized. Optional reserve. Although these are not required, the association has the option to reserve for large expense as long as they are defined and detailed in the annual budget. You don't need to use the statutory calculation because they may cost more or less than $10,000. It might not have an estimate life to be able to calculate. You must have this item in separate reserve section or schedule of the budget. For example, hurricane storm cleanup. We don't know when this will happen, but the property is very large and has a lot of trees. This type of event might have happened in the past, and if you want to prepare for the future, the name of the reserve must be defined as to the purpose of the reserve. For example, deferred maintenance and capital expenditure is appropriate. The titles such as contingency or general reserve are not permitted. For either form of reserve style, two important byproducts are interest and commingling of fund. Interest must remain in reserve account. Association may establish policy regarding allocation of interest among reserve accounts. Commingling. Reserve portion from assessment must be moved to reserve account within 30 days of receipt. These are the funds collected from the owner. Transfer is to avoid using reserve fund for unintended purposes. Inflation adjustment. Reserve assessment may be adjusted for inflation annually to take into account an inflation adjustment and any change in estimate or extension of the useful life of reserve item caused by deferred maintenance. The budget meeting notes must be mailed, delivered, or electronically transmitted to all unit owners not less than 14 days prior to the date of the meeting. Notice must include a copy of the proposed budget. The proposed budget must include a reserve schedule and shown as fully funded. An affidavit must be obtained to reflect when the budget meeting notice and all its components was sent or provided to the unit owners. This affidavit, along with the anti-budget meeting notice and components, must be maintained within the association official record. A budget must propose and adopt no later than 14 days before the beginning of the fiscal year. Currently, association may waive or reduce the reserve. Condominium associations that not subject to Cert replacement requirement have the option to waive or collect less than the required amount of funds for the fiscal year, but this requires a majority vote of the total voting interest of the association. If an association plans on giving unit owner the option to waive, reserve, or provide for less than fully funded, a unit owner meeting must be called and held. An agenda is included with the notice and is either mailed, hand-delivered, or electronically transmitted to unit owners. It must be posted conspicuously on association property at least 14 continuous days prior to the date of the meeting. Quorum must be met at the unit meeting. For each year you want to waive or reduce a reserve, you must obtain a majority vote of the total voting interest at the meeting by those present or by limited proxy. This vote only applies for only 1 year. If waiving or reducing the reserve, the limited proxy must have the following text. It's in bigger, bold font than anything else on the proxy. The proxy must read as follows: waiving of reserves in whole or in part, or the allowing alternative use of existing reserve may result in unit owner liability for payment of unanticipated special assessment regarding those items. This is an example of limited proxy from the revision website. We highlight the region in red, showing the paragraph we just discussed. And now, it's time to take our quiz on budget and reserve. So since we have a full house here, so we can ask you to probably raise your hand to see if you think it's A, B, or C. So let's move on to our first question. How many days prior to the budget meeting should the notice be sent or provided to unit owner? Who says A? Who says B? Raise your hand if you think it's B. C. Or D? Can I have unanimous? Yes. I don't see unanimous. I don't see like a majority, right? Which is the majority. Yes. And the correct answer is D. 14 days. Remember. Right. Good.
Make my day.
Right. Thank you for your attention. You really did pay attention. You've done a good job. So let's move on to question 2. What methods can be used to calculate reserve funds? Straight line, pool, straight line or pool, or rainy day fund? Who thinks it's D? Nobody? Nobody have the courage to say it's D? All right, the correct answer is C, straight line or pool. All right, thank you. Thank you, Audio. Can we take a break? No. Or we can continue? All right. All right, time for to take question. Yes.
Will this presentation be
a link so we can open it and read it?
Yes.
I can't read anything.
Yes, we'll get it out to you.
Thank you.
Also, it's going to be on video, so you're going to see it on channel 590, and it's going to be on the website. You can review it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You mentioned quorum. What happens if you don't have a quorum?
Can't do anything.
What do you mean you don't have a quorum?
In other words, he doesn't have 51% of his unit owners in attendance either by proxy or in person.
Thank you, Donald.
Yes. So you can't get it. So if you can't get a quorum, then you can't get a become official.
If you don't have a quorum, you may reschedule your annual meetings, but you are not required to. The meeting is not come to order, and you can wait till next year to have another meeting.
Yeah, that's true.
If there is an election, however, you must have your election. I think it's
20%.
20, yeah. So no quorum, no meeting, 20% in attendance, you have your election.
Okay.
Usually Shauna takes care of this for you, so you don't have to worry about it.
Can you use a proxy to vote?
Proxy is only to establish quorum.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Donnie, are you required to have an election every year?
Yes.
Yes.
By statute, every year.
So what happens if they don't? They just
You can file a complaint.
You can file a complaint with the universal complaint form that are available at UCO. But if you have your meeting and it's properly noticed and you don't get a quorum, meeting's over. It becomes an informational chat at that point. See you next year.
If the same board is running again, do you still have to have a meeting? If it's the same exact board,
Yes.
and no, do you still have to have a vote? If it's the same exact board,
If you have less than the amount of people on your board that put in their intents to run, then no election. If you have exactly the same among the receipts, no election. If you have 6 and you have a 5-man board, it's going to be an election.
well, if you have the same board, you don't have to have an election.
You will always have to have an election.
In other words, you have to announce the people that are going to be on.
Absolutely. And usually your property manager takes care of this for you.
Well,
Donna, can I interrupt you? We will talk about the election process later on. So right now, if you have any question reserved to budget and reserve, we more than happy to answer. But we will talk about financial reporting, election, and official record later. So keep it within the topic, please.
There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Seacrest does our budget. We have no say in what they do. We only read what they send to us. And I think that a lot of us are in the same boat.
I can take this one. All right, so Seacrest prepares a draft budget for you, but the budget is approved by the board, and this board can make adjustments to the budget, even at the budget meeting. It's your budget. Ultimately, you decide on what you want your budget to be. What they do is a draft budget to make it a little easy for you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is there a sheet coming around to sign in?
Yeah, it's right here.
Yes, Shayna?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's
I'm coming, Gene. You're welcome.
My question is, okay, I live in a 2-story building, not a 3-story building. So obviously you've talked about the SERS thing and all of that.
Yeah, it's
That
not
does, that does not apply to a 2-story
Yes.
building.
Doesn't affect you. 2-story, you good.
I know this isn't about, this isn't an accounting meeting, but I just wondered if there's any, like, benefits versus not benefits to pool versus straight line. We have straight line with Seacrest, that's straight line. Do you, I don't know if that's beyond like your...
Yes, it's more like it's like a logical view, it's perspective. If you think it's like you put like envelope, you put money on each envelope to use for that.
But it sounded like you're saying that we we can't borrow from one envelope to put it in another if we need to. Unless we do that at the budget meeting at the beginning of the year, is that when that occurs?
Yes, yes. So that's advantage, like you said, that if you approve method that you can use the money for roof or building, for something, but for straight line, you just use the money for that purpose only.
Okay, but we can change it at the annual meeting.
The budget meeting.
Yes,
Budget
when we get
meeting.
the draft, we can submit it back and
Yes,
say, we
yes.
need you to put some money from this
Yes,
envelope to that envelope.
Yes,
Okay.
you need unit owner approval
Okay.
for changing that.
Gotcha.
I always say with pool versus itemized
Yeah,
is 6 of one, half dozen of the other. The pooled is easier to prepare, but if during the budget year, you need to take money from one envelope because you're short on the other envelope, now you gotta go to your units. You have to go to your unit owners per permission. That happened to me this year in my own association. If you do an itemized budget, more work at the outset. But if there's a line item for cigars and you need a cigar, you go to the cigar store. It's that simple. It's really a business decision for your board.
All right, thank you. Now let's move on to our next section is official record. In this section, we will review the following. What documents are considered to be official record of the association? Unit owner right to request and inspect the record. The requirement of association website. The official record are developer document, the government document, a copy of the current rules of the association, books that contain the minutes of all meetings of the association, a current roster, email addresses, and facsimile number of unit owner consenting to receive notice by electronic transmission. All current insurance policy of the association and condominiums operated by the association. A current copy of any management agreement, lease, or other contract to which the association is a party. Bills of sale or transfer of all property owned by the association. Accounting record for the association and separate accounting records for each condominium that the association operates. A current account and a monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly statement of the account for each unit. All audits, review, accounting statement, structural integrity reserve study, and financial report of the association or condominium. Voting material. All rental record if the association is acting as agent for the rental of the condominium's units. A copy of the current question and answer sheet. All contracts and bids for work to be performed, bids for the material, equipment, or service. All affirmative acknowledgement. A copy of the inspection report and any other inspection report relating to the structural or life safety inspection of condominium property. All other written record of the association not specifically included in the foregoing, which are related to the operation of the association. The official record must be kept within the state of Florida, and all official records are kept for at least 7 years, but there are some exceptions. Some records must be kept permanently. These records are article of incorporation, declaration, bylaw, rules of the association. Also including this listing are plans and warranty by the developer, and meeting minutes, So this means that minutes from 2011 should be in the record permanently. And if previous minutes exist, they must also be kept. It's a new law. A copy of milestone inspection and the structural integrity reserve will become part of the official record and must be maintained for 15 years. Notices are not considered election material and therefore are required to be maintained for 7 years. Bids and election material must be maintained for at least 1 year, and this is after receipt of the bid and after the date of the election. Example of election materials are the ballots, envelopes, and basically all election day materials. Unit owners have the right to inspect record upon written request. Remember, written request. And the association may not require a member to demonstrate any purpose or state a reason for inspection. So we receive a lot of questions asking that, can I email and ask for the records? The board member can refuse not to reply. So have to be official in written by hand delivered or certified mail. Upon the association receipt of the request, the association must provide access to record within 10 working days. So working day. So no Saturday and Sunday, right? No holiday, working day. Unit owners have, and any person authorized by an association member have the right to request access to official record. The association cannot deny access to the person authorized by an association member. An association official record must be available for inspection by unit owner and any person authorized by an association member at all reasonable times. The association may adopt reasonable rules regarding the frequency, time, location, notice, and manner of record inspection and copying. For example, there may be an office with office hours and limit of frequency, such as one request monthly. So the board member can do that, can set up some of that. Tenants might not request to inspect and copy the declaration, bylaw, rule of an association, and the milestone inspection report. Unit owners have the right to make or obtain copy of official record. If a unit owner wish to utilize a portable device to make an electronic copy of the official record, instead of the association provide a copy of such record, the association must allow the unit owner to do so. The association may not charge a member or any person authorized by an association member for the use of a portable device to make an electronic copy of the official record. However, if the unit owner wants the association to make the copy, the association might charge a reasonable fee for copy. Reasonable, right, Donna? Not too much, okay? Please note, we have seen copying cost anywhere from a nickel to $1. The division does not regulate this charge. So it's up to the board member, the association set all this rule. The following are records that are maintained by the association but not available for unit owner inspection. Any record protected by lawyer-client privilege until the conclusion of those proceedings. Information obtained by an association in connection with the approval of lease, sale, or the transfer of unit, a personal record of association or management company, employees, including but not limited to disciplinary, payroll, health, and insurance record. Budgetary or financial record that indicate the compensation paid to an association employee. The term employee personnel record does not include written employment agreements with an association employee or management company. The management company contract may be viewed. Medical record of unit owners, social security number, driver license number, credit card number, email addresses, telephone numbers, fax number, emergency contact information. Any electronic security measure that is used by the association to safeguard data, including password. The software and operating system used by the association which allow manipulation of data, even if the owner owns a copy of the same software used by the association. The data is part of the official record of the association. All affirmative acknowledgement. What if you failure of the board to allow inspection of books and record constitutes disputes for which a unit owner may submit a complaint for review by the division? This part is what we have received a lot of our complaint from, access to record. An association must publish unit owner directory for the convenience of its members. This is optional. This directory might include unit owner names, unit addresses, and phone number, and other contact information. Please note, a unit owner may opt out of being published in the directory. Multiple phone numbers may be published, and unit owner may consent to having other contact information published. The association is not liable for the inadvertent disclosure of information that is protected under this section. If the information is included in an official record of the association and is voluntarily provided by an owner and is not requested by the association. Please note, usually the information is collected is on a voluntary basis. Unit owners can provide it, what information they want to publish, such as just a phone number or an email, or no information at all. Website requirement. This is a requirement for association of 150 or more units. Now this is going to be changed soon. Come July 1st, will be 25. That's going to be, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but you guys have to prepare for that. An association with 150 or more units must provide a list of documents on the association website. The website must be independently owned and operated by the association or operated by a third-party provider with whom the association has the right to operate a web page. The association must provide an owner, upon request, with a username and password to the protected section of the association website. The association shall ensure that the information and record which are not allowed to be accessible to unit owners are not posted on the association website. In addition to any of the authorized means of providing notice of a meeting of the board, the association may, by rule, adopt a procedure for conspicuously posting the meeting notice and the agenda on the association website. This must be available for at least the same period of time which a notice of a meeting is also required to be physically posted on the condominium property. Any rule adopted shall include a requirement that the association an electronic notice in the same manner as the notice for a meeting of the member. This notice must be include a hyperlink to the website where the notice is posted to the unit owner, whose email addresses are included in the association official record. The association may make record available through an application that can be downloaded on a mobile device as an alternate option to posting record on the website. Statutory required that all notice for the unit owner meeting may be included on the website as required pursuant to Chapter 718, Section 112, subsection 2D, no later than 14 days before the meeting. Please refer to the statute for more guidelines regarding requirements. And now, it's our time to take a quiz. Let's go.
Yeah, real quick. Guys, just while it's in my mind, we just covered websites. Pretty much everyone in this room, including me, has a niece or nephew or talented grandson who's an absolute whiz on his computer. Whoever makes your website for you, make sure that it is compliant with statute. Who can tell you whether it's compliant or not? Your property manager or your attorney. That's it. Thanks. This time.
All right. When official record of the association be made available to unit after receipt of a written request? 5 working day, 10 working day, 15. So the answer is B, 10, right? 10 working day. With the, after a written request, make sure that remember the written request. No verbal or telephone or email, right? If the unit owner happen to request by email, by phone, or by in person, the association have the right to refuse, not to answer. A unit owner can bring which of the following to make free electronic copy of record inspection? An extra person, a relative, right? Portable device, or there is not a way to make free copy? B. Alright, you all good. Portable device. Good. So any question on regarding the official record?
Where's the signing sheet?
Oh, where's the sign sheet? Shana,
It's out in the...
out somewhere.
Move it along.
Yes, ma'am.
What if people do not have a computer? We have people who still do not have computers. So do we have a website, they're not access, do we have to mail them everything?
Yes.
Or they have to reply?
That's a good question. I don't know. Probably the legislator who created the law, they probably think about it, but probably they have to say good luck, right? Go get a new laptop.
That's not that easy.
Yes, Donna?
If I get a records request from a unit owner and I want to send it to my attorney for review, do I get extra days to reply?
Do you have extra day? You have to notify the division that you advise them, need legal advice.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's still 10 days, even if I shoot it to my attorney for response?
Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
You said in July the requirement for a website is going to change to 25 units? when will you have to comply with that new regulation?
I don't know exactly the date, even though it's just in the implementation, the bill is have not signed yet. So we prepare for it. It's coming. We prepare a lot of change in the House bill. If you want some information in advance, you can go into House Bill 1021. House Bill HB 1021. They have information out there. That some change, especially a lot of change in the official record. There's a lot of change, and then a lot will change with the BMC too. So next year probably the BMC is not 2 hours, it's 4 hours course. Yes, there's some change. Yes.
The milestone report, you brought up the point about the milestone report, you have to hold on to it to 15 years. But what if the life expectancy on certain items are like 30 years or 28 years? What happens then?
Try to put everything on electronically or digital.
What are you talking about?
Say
Like, wait, you have 10 items on the milestone report.
Right.
Okay, so let's say the reserve has to be on certain items for 31 years because the life expectancy is 31 years. At the end of 15 years, you get rid of the report. What the hell good is the 31-year reserve?
You still have to do your milestone inspection with the same engineer that performed the.
Because the milestone inspection is, you have to like do update every 10 years after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every 10 years after the first one.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that January 2025 is when it's 25 and over for the website. That's what I read.
Thank you.
Hi, I got a couple of questions if I may. Earlier with records that you cannot get a copy of, one of them, if I remember correctly, was all affirmative acknowledgements. Please forgive me because I haven't been down here long from New York. Every state has different jargon. What is an affirmative acknowledgement? It was on records not available. Right there, the very last one, bottom row, all the way to the right, all affirmative acknowledgements.
Thank you for the question. For that question, probably I'm not sure myself, but I can get your email address and I respond to you later when I get back to the office.
Thank you. Also, where it says you cannot get employee records or compensation, is that by federal law or Florida law?
This is the Florida statute.
It's Florida statute. I appreciate that
Yes.
because I know that in other areas, states don't have a statute on point. People rely on federal law that has really a lot of loopholes that you can still get it anyway. So I appreciate that clarification. Also, earlier you said something about articles of corporation and declarations on the requests for that, but from what I understand, because I bought a copy of the Florida condo laws that includes a lot of the not-for-profit corporation laws, etc., a guide to it, which I haven't gotten through all of it yet, only about half, since I got it about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And from what it said, in the next edition, comes into print in June or July, that upon, I forget if it was applying for membership to the condo association or being approved, you're supposed to be given copy of the articles of incorporation, the declarations and the bylaws, all the governing materials without even having to request it, and it's the legal obligation of the associations. So that didn't seem to be made clear by today's presentation, that I think all the board members coming in should be aware of, that it is the board obligation to give the new people these documents without their even requesting it. So why isn't that presented?
I think the better understanding of that is you are supposed to allow access, okay? And it is the association obligation. You can set your time frame as to when you can provide this information. It's the failure to withhold information that becomes a problem. But if you don't necessarily have to give out information essentially without a written request. It has to be a written request, and then you can permit the time to allow access to those records.
I'm a New York lawyer, not a Florida lawyer. My reading of the Florida statute in the guidebook was it's an affirmative responsibility of the association to provide it to the new member.
Absolutely.
Yes, they're supposed to.
Not the new member requests it,
Okay.
but the association must
You're speaking
provide
from
it.
board member to board member.
The board member to the new owner of a unit.
Did you
the
check with
board
your
must provide it.
governing doc? Check with your governing doc to see what they say about it, right? Or if you want to have the copy for the new member, then probably you could brought it up on the meeting, because there'll be more cost for the association to give it out a copy.
But if it's if they're legally obligated, then the cost is not a factor of discussion. And if this is a required class for new board members, they should know that requirement by statute in Florida. And I'm asking, why is that not being taught?
Okay, sir, we'd be more than happy to speak to you on a one-on-one basis, but we have to
Okay.
continue with the presentation.
Fair enough.
I'm actually, we're gonna take a little break, because we're gonna transition over, and when you guys come back, it's gonna be a 5-minute break, okay?
Can I ask one more question, please, about the milestone?
Just 1 second, let me just finish my thought, please. 5 minutes, restroom break, and then when you guys come back, we will continue with the presentation. That will be in regards to financial reporting, okay? So we're gonna transition over, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions at the end of the presentation with you guys on a one-on-one basis, okay? Yes, sir.